when you came down the Carmel Hill and hit the flat, which is Junipero, on the northeast corner, where there is a motel now, was a stable, Hodges Stables, for the horses. And it was there for some years, and later moved down to the Mission Ranch, where the Mission Ranch tennis courts are. But there it was. And after it moved down, the barn was still there, and it was used as sort of a carnival roadshow type of thing. They would get automobiles from the crime cars, gang cars, type of sort of thing that would be, and they had sirens blowing and everything, and they simulated what was happening in Chicago at that time. And up the street from that, 2 blocks up the street, was Betty Green's stable. And that was not covered. There was a horse paddock, and they had the horses tethered there, and that was quite a popular stables. And she conducted a lot of rides, tours, and also one could take a horse and do what they wanted to do. You know, that wasn't too far in the mid-30s, it wasn't too far from the horse age. They were still plowing with horses, you know, some places. And so the stable was accepted as where the Carmel Plaza was a movie theater, typical old-fashioned movie theater with a kiosk where the cashier was. Then you'd go around the sides and go into the theater. And of course, we went to the theater. We went to the Saturday cowboy movies and stuff like that, movies and shorts and cartoons that were involved every Saturday practically. And on Mission, across from the theater, and still on the south side of Ocean Avenue, was the Carmel Post Office at that time. That would be Mission and Ocean Avenue, the southwest portion. And across the street from that was the Carmel Dairy. And that, of course, had a soda fountain. That's where we all used to get our hamburgers and milkshakes, which that was our main diet. And the hamburgers and the milkshake, it cost a total of 25 cents. On the corner of San Carlos and 7th, there was a gas station on each corner. If you went north to Ocean Avenue, there was another big gas station, which was the Carmel Garage. If you went a little further north, probably on 6th Street, was another one, Carl and Chan. So now I'm naming 6 gas stations in the area. And of course that changed. Carmel the property became too valuable for that, and you put in these other shops. The houses have changed somewhat. Many of them were single wall construction. You either had your conduit inside or you had your conduit outside. And the lots were 40 by 100. You needed 2 lots. And some of the houses, though, were only on one, which really, made them very small. And they were basically board and bat and very simple. Comfortable, but simple. Then on the corner of San Carlos and Ocean, on the northwest corner, was Kip's grocery store, Now, Kip's was a grocery store that had sort of like the New York West and East Side stores with crates of fruit and vegetables outside on the display. And that's where everybody shopped. That's where there was Nielsen's, that was in some other location, but that was pretty expensive. And so Kip's was the place. And hanging around Kip's was the village dog. They always had a dog. And some of the more graphic designs of Carmel will show the different dogs, and each one had a name, and he has it on there. They were all yellow and something like this. They were mongrels, but everybody was, the dog was everybody's friend, and we were the dog's everybody was the dog's master. Yeah. Going down further, there was a Carmel library, of course, and then basically the town stopped, which incidentally I think is one of the saviors of Carmel. What happened is you don't have any sort of gas stations and fast food stores and everything leading into the community. The commercial area stops, with some exceptions. And so that was there. Right now where the city hall is was the Episcopalian church. That's why the vaulted ceilings. Yeah, Village Hardware was on the north side of Ocean, between San Carlos and Dolores, I believe. And that was the old-fashioned hardware store. And they had shelves going up to the ceiling and a ladder that you could climb. And that was a hardware store where you'd come in and say, I'd like 3 screws. About so, and you would show them with your thumb and finger how big the screw was, and they'd go up and get it. And then you'd come down and you said, is this it? And you said, no. Up the ladder you'd go again. And and it wasn't, nothing was packaged. And that was quite a store. And then was finally bought by the Neals, and then it finally burned. Carmel Drugstore. That's always been there. That's one of the, I think it could be, although you may find some other, I think it's the longest consisting business in Carmel. Certainly not the same owners, of course, but it's still the store. That's where one got their prescriptions, still do, people. Buy the newspaper in the front, cosmetics. Staniford, they had a drugstore on the corner of Ocean and Dolores, the southwest portion. That was Staniford. A portion of Little Napoli restaurant was El Fumador. And in the front, as I say, it was a tobacco shop. And they cooked hamburgers in the front, and in the back, we never went back there because it was dark, and they had a light that sort of made a conical glow over some tables, and they were playing cards. And they seemed like sort of strange, dark people, that we did. But anyway, we were interested in the first part. And that building, incidentally, now is the El Paseo building, which consists of that store and and on the corner, and so on. And that I'm half owner of the building. And we bought the building in 1970, and for a price that I can't tell you now, and the rents has been really sensational. But anyway, and on the corner of going back to the El Paseo building, or Fumador, was Cooksley's Restaurant. And when we went there sometimes at lunch, because it was not too far from sunset. And at that time, even though I was in the 7th grade, I thought sometime I'd like to buy the building. And indeed, many years later, we did. I did.